The 13 Hidden Energy Drains. Transform your home using ancient Japanese wisdom. Stop everything you're doing right now. Look around your living space. Can you feel it? That subtle heaviness in the air, that restless energy that prevents you from truly relaxing even in your own home? What if I revealed to you that there are exactly 13 specific items lurking in your house right this moment that are silently sabotaging your peace, clouding your thoughts, and creating invisible barriers to the tranquil sanctuary you're desperately seeking? The ancient masters of Japan discovered these energy-draining secrets over 800 years ago, and today you're about to unlock the exact same wisdom that has transformed millions of homes across the globe. By the time you finish watching this video, you'll never look at your living space the same way again. But first, do yourself a massive favor. Hit that subscribe button and activate those notifications right now. Trust me when I say this channel is about to become your ultimate guide for creating the serene, organized haven you've been dreaming of your entire life. And if you discover even one game-changing insight in today's video, show some appreciation with a thumbs up. It helps us reach more people who desperately need these life-transforming secrets. The foundation of understanding Japanese domestic philosophy. Have you ever wondered why stepping into a traditional Japanese residence instantly makes your entire body exhale with relief? Why your racing thoughts suddenly slow down and that chronic tension in your shoulders just melts away? This phenomenon isn't accidental. It's the culmination of 8 centuries of refined understanding about the intricate relationship between our surroundings and our psychological well-being. Japanese home philosophy transcends superficial design trends or Instagram-worthy minimalism. It's anchored in the profound recognition that every single object within your living space either elevates your existence or quietly undermines it. There's no neutral ground. Each possession is either your ally in creating inner peace or a subtle saboteur working against your happiness. Most people unknowingly live surrounded by what I call invisible energy vampires, seemingly innocent items that create a persistent state of mental fog and emotional exhaustion. You might spend countless hours organizing, cleaning, and rearranging, yet something fundamental still feels wrong. The space never quite transforms into that sanctuary your soul craves. This disconnection occurs because you may be harboring objects that are fundamentally incompatible with serenity and balance. In Japanese culture, the home represents sacred ground, a space where the spirit rejuvenates, where mental clarity emerges naturally, and where life's essential equilibrium gets restored daily. They've mastered the understanding that what we deliberately exclude from our living environments often matters more than what we choose to include. Today you're going to discover the 13 specific categories of possessions that Japanese homeowners consciously avoid. And more crucially, you'll learn how to implement these principles to create a residence that doesn't merely appear beautiful, but genuinely feels nourishing. This transformation won't require adopting an extreme lifestyle or discarding everything you own. Instead, it's about cultivating a more mindful relationship with your belongings and developing awareness of how each item influences your daily emotional experience. The revolution begins not with accumulation, but with conscious, thoughtful release.
1. Electronics without purpose. The digital energy drains. In our hyper-connected world, we've accumulated electronic devices that have outlived their usefulness yet continue occupying our sacred spaces. That old smartphone in your drawer, the dusty tablet you never use, the gaming console from 3 generations ago. These dormant devices represent more than clutter. They embody interrupted technological cycles that create energetic discord. Japanese philosophy recognizes that non-functional electronics emit a frequency of incompletion. Even when powered off, they remind your subconscious of unfinished digital relationships and abandoned technological investments. Your mind registers these items as unresolved business, creating subtle anxiety about waste, impermanence, and the rapid pace of technological change. Consider the psychological weight of maintaining relationships with devices that no longer serve you. Every time you encounter these abandoned electronics, you experience micro-decisions about whether to use them, fix them, or finally release them. This constant low-level decision fatigue accumulates throughout your day, leaving you mentally depleted. The solution requires honest assessment of your electronic ecosystem. Gather every device in your home and evaluate its current function in your life. If it hasn't been used in 6 months and doesn't serve a specific ongoing purpose, it's time for respectful release. Donate functional devices to others who can benefit, and recycle non-functional ones through proper electronic waste channels. When you eliminate purposeless electronics, your living space becomes more energetically coherent. You stop unconsciously bracing for the complexity of managing multiple devices, and instead experience the clarity that comes from maintaining only technology that actively supports your current lifestyle and goals.
2. Expired beauty and personal care products. The stagnation of self-care. Your bathroom cabinets and vanity drawers likely contain a hidden museum of expired cosmetics, ancient skincare products, and forgotten toiletries. These items represent more than simple waste. They symbolize interrupted self-care rituals and abandoned attempts at personal transformation. Expired beauty products carry the energy of neglected intentions. That expensive moisturizer you bought, but never consistently used. The makeup shades that seemed perfect in the store, but never worked with your complexion. The hair products that promised miraculous results, but disappointed you. Each item tells a story of hope, followed by disconnection. In Japanese culture, personal care represents a sacred daily practice of honoring your physical vessel. When you maintain expired or unused products, you're surrounding yourself with reminders of self-care practices you've abandoned, creating subtle guilt about not taking better care of yourself. The accumulation of these products also creates practical obstacles to effective self-care routines. When you need to search through expired items to find what you actually use, the simple act of caring for yourself becomes unnecessarily complicated and time-consuming. Conduct a thorough audit of all personal care items. Check expiration dates, assess actual usage, and honestly evaluate whether products still align with your current preferences and routines. Release expired items immediately, and donate unopened, current products that simply don't work for your specific needs. This process often reveals important insights about your authentic self-care preferences versus the marketing-influenced purchases you've made. You might discover that you actually prefer simpler routines with fewer, higher-quality products that you genuinely enjoy using. When you curate your personal care collection to include only fresh, relevant, regularly used items, your daily self-care routine transforms from a chore into a celebration. You're surrounded only by products that support your current self-care vision, reinforcing your commitment to treating yourself with love and attention.
3. Meaningless decorative objects, the visual noise epidemic. Decoration should narrate your unique story, reflect your deepest values, and contribute meaningfully to the emotional atmosphere you want to cultivate. Yet many homes overflow with ornamental objects acquired without intention, default purchases, unwanted gifts, or items bought merely to fill perceived empty spaces. The Japanese concept of teaches us about the profound power of thoughtful emptiness. Not every surface requires occupation. Not every wall demands covering, and not every corner needs filling. In fact, conscious use of space can create more powerful impact than unconscious accumulation of meaningless objects. Examine the decorative elements throughout your residence. How many were chosen with genuine intention? How many tell stories that genuinely matter to you? How many actually contribute to the emotional experience you want to create in your space? Honest assessment might reveal that many decorative objects exist simply because you felt something should occupy that particular spot. Meaningless decoration generates visual noise, constant low-level distraction that prevents your mind from settling into peaceful focus. When surrounded by objects that don't resonate with your authentic self, your environment becomes a collection of question marks rather than clear statements about your identity and values. The curation process requires deep personal reflection. Remove all decorative objects from one room and live with the clean surfaces for several days. Notice how the emptiness feels. Then slowly, deliberately return only items that genuinely enhance the atmosphere you want to create. This exercise often reveals surprising truths about what actually brings you joy versus what you thought should bring you joy. You might discover that fewer, more meaningful objects create stronger emotional impact than numerous items competing for attention. When you surround yourself exclusively with purposeful decoration, your home becomes an authentic reflection of your inner landscape. Each visible item reinforces your sense of identity and belonging, creating profound peace that guests immediately sense upon entering your sanctuary.
4. Clothes that don't fit your current body. Embracing present reality. Your wardrobe narrates the complex story of your evolving identity, who you've been, who you hope to become, and who you actually are today. For many people, closets overflow with garments representing different life chapters that no longer reflect current reality, creating daily reminders of disconnection between past and present selves. Clothing carries powerful, energetic imprints, memories of purchase moments, hopes for future occasions, associations with different life phases. When you maintain garments that no longer fit your current body, lifestyle, or personal aesthetic, you're essentially curating a museum of outdated identity versions. Japanese philosophy emphasizes supporting who you are in this present moment, not who you were years ago or who you might become in hypothetical futures. This wisdom extends beyond Marie Kondo's famous spark joy question into deeper cultural understanding of authenticity and presence. Consider the psychological impact of confronting your closet each morning. If you're faced with clothes that don't fit properly, reflect outdated styles, or simply don't align with your current identity, you begin each day with subtle disconnection. You might think, "I have nothing appropriate to wear," while surrounded by dozens of items, a paradox that creates decision fatigue and emotional confusion. Engage in honest wardrobe conversation. Remove everything and examine each piece individually. Ask yourself, does this represent who I am today? Does it fit my current body comfortably? Does it align with my present lifestyle? Most importantly, does wearing this make me feel confident and authentic? Items failing these evaluations occupy valuable space, both physical and emotional. They prevent you from building a wardrobe that truly serves your current needs while occupying mental real estate with reminders of past identity versions rather than supporting present growth. The release process can trigger unexpected emotions. You might find yourself clinging to garments from earlier life phases not because you'll wear them again, but because they represent times when you felt particularly confident or happy. Honor those memories, express gratitude for the garment's service, then release it to create space for new experiences and evolving identity. When you curate clothing collections to include only items genuinely serving your current existence, getting dressed becomes celebratory rather than problematic. You're surrounded exclusively by options that enhance your confidence, creating positive momentum that influences your entire day and reinforces healthy self-regard.
5. Accumulated paperwork, the invisible anchors. Paper multiplies quietly throughout our homes, creating invisible mountains of mental clutter that weigh more heavily on our psyche than we consciously realize. Old bills, expired warranties, instruction manuals for discarded appliances, bank statements from years past. These documents represent unfinished business, outdated obligations, and connections to life versions that no longer exist. Japanese present moment philosophy extends deeply into paperwork relationships. They understand that maintaining documents serving no practical purpose resembles carrying unnecessary weight that makes every step more difficult. Each paper in your home tells a story, and many stories represent chapters you've already completed. Those credit card statements from 3 years ago provide no current value, while occupying space and creating subtle, unfinished business sensations. The warranty for last year's replaced blender protects nothing while adding to visual and energetic environmental clutter. Clearing old paperwork creates profound liberation, like removing cobwebs from mental corners. As you sort through papers, you're simultaneously sorting through life phases, acknowledging what's complete and what remains active. Create systematic approaches to this process. Gather papers from throughout your home: kitchen drawers, bedroom nightstands, office filing systems, mysterious counterpiles. Sort into 3 categories: essential documents requiring long-term retention, current documents serving active purposes, and everything else ready for disposal. Essential documents: birth certificates, passports, current insurance policies, recent tax returns, deserve clean, organized systems ensuring easy accessibility. Current documents: recent statements, active warranties, ongoing contracts need specific designated locations with regular maintenance systems. Everything else can be respectfully released. Shred documents containing personal information and recycle the remainder. Notice how mental clarity improves throughout this process. Clearing old paperwork creates space for new opportunities and fresh thinking. Japanese practice emphasizes completion energy. When you release documents from closed life chapters, you signal readiness to move forward without definition by past financial decisions or obsolete obligations. This creates freedom and possibility extending far beyond physical paper clearing.
6. Broken and malfunctioning items, the energy of incompletion. Living with broken possessions resembles living with constant small defeats. That sticking drawer, flickering lamp, or cracked picture frame creates seemingly minor issues that generate subtle but persistent dysfunction background noise throughout daily life. Japanese philosophy recognizes broken objects as interrupted cycles, incomplete processes creating energetic discord within living environments. When you adapt to working around malfunctioning items, you're training yourself to accept less than ideal conditions, which can subtly influence standards across other life areas. Consider daily accommodations you make for broken items. You push harder on loose-handled doors, avoid wobbly-legged chairs, work around drawers that won't open smoothly. Each accommodation requires tiny amounts of extra mental energy and physical effort that accumulate into general sensations that your home requires constant struggle rather than providing effortless support. Japanese approaches to broken items emphasize straightforwardness: repair quickly or remove entirely.
They understand homes should function as harmonious systems where everything collaborates to support peaceful, efficient living. When system components break, entire flow becomes disrupted. The beautiful Japanese art form, kintsugi, repairs broken pottery with gold, creating something more beautiful than the original. However, this practice specifically involves restoration and transformation, not ignoring damage or accepting dysfunction. The key lies in conscious choices to either restore full functionality or release with respect. Conduct complete inventories of broken items throughout your home. Include everything from major appliances functioning improperly to small items like non-writing pens, dull scissors, or containers with missing lids. Create lists and decide for each item, repair, replace, or release. For repair-worthy items, establish realistic timelines and follow through. Don't allow "I'll fix it someday" to become permanent states. For items not worth repair time or costs, thank them for their service and dispose of them responsibly. The transformation occurring when you eliminate broken items feels immediate and profound. Your home begins feeling more supportive and responsive to your needs. You stop unconsciously bracing for malfunctioning elements and begin trusting your environment to support you efficiently. This creates positive feedback loops. When homes function smoothly, you feel more capable and in control. When you feel capable and in control, you're more likely to maintain excellent environmental conditions. Results include living spaces truly serving as foundations for success and peace across all life areas.
7. Street shoes indoors. Sacred boundary violations. Removing shoes before entering homes represents one of the most fundamental Japanese domestic cultural practices, symbolizing something far deeper than simple cleanliness. It creates clear boundaries between external world chaos and personal sanctuary peace. Your shoes carry more than visible dirt. They transport energy from everywhere you've traveled. Crowded sidewalks, stressful offices, public restrooms, busy streets filled with noise and chaos. When you bring shoes into your home, you're symbolically importing all these energies into your rest and restoration space. Removing shoes at entrances and changing into clean indoor slippers creates powerful transition rituals. It signals to your nervous system that you're moving from public spheres into private space, from productivity and social interaction energy into relaxation and personal reflection energy. Japanese homes feature genkan, entryways where shoes are removed and stored, serving as energetic airlocks between outside worlds and sacred home spaces. This physical footwear changing act creates mental shifts, helping residents transition from public personas to authentic selves. Consider how this practice might transform your home relationship. Instead of living space continuing outside world energy, it becomes distinctly different environment with unique energy and purpose. Floors become cleaner, air becomes purer. Entire atmospheres become more conducive to rest and contemplation. Creating boundaries doesn't require major renovations. Designate specific areas near entrances for shoe storage. Simple racks, baskets, or designated mats work perfectly. Provide comfortable indoor slippers or simply go barefoot. Benefits extend beyond symbolic meaning. Floors stay cleaner, reducing constant cleaning needs. You avoid tracking bacteria, allergens, and toxins from outside environments. Most importantly, you create daily rituals helping you transition mentally and emotionally from external world demands to personal space peace. This practice reinforces healthy boundaries across other life areas. When you establish clear distinctions between public and private, work and rest, external obligations, and personal time. You create structures supporting mental health and emotional well-being throughout all aspects of existence.
8. Visible cables and technology clutter. Digital chaos management. In our technology-saturated world, we've grown accustomed to living with visible cables, wires, and cords, creating visual chaos throughout living spaces. While we might not consciously register this visual clutter, our nervous systems constantly process this information as disorder and confusion. Japanese home harmony philosophy pays careful attention to these details because visual peace contributes directly to mental peace. When your eyes continuously encounter tangled cords and exposed wires, your brain receives constant disorganization signals, even when you've consciously adapted to ignore them. Think about technology congregation areas throughout your home, behind televisions, around computer desks, near bedside tables where devices charge. These areas often become unintentional representations of modern life's complexity and chaos. Every visible wire reminds you of digital demands on your attention and energy. Solutions don't require eliminating technology, but integrating it more harmoniously into living spaces. This means investing time to organize, hide, and streamline the visual impact of necessary cords and cables. Simple organizational tools create dramatic differences. Cord organizers, cable management boxes, adhesive hooks, and cord covers transform chaotic wire tangles into clean, organized systems. Goals aren't perfection, but elimination of visual noise contributing to mental clutter. Pay particular attention to areas where you spend the most time, especially spaces designated for rest and relaxation. Bedrooms particularly should remain as free as possible from visible technology and associated cables. Numerous charging cords and device cables in sleeping areas subtly interfere with brain abilities to associate spaces with rest and recovery. The presence of digital connectivity reminders can unconsciously maintain your mind in alert, connected states rather than allowing natural wind-down processes. When you organize cables and wires thoughtfully, you're doing more than tidying. You're removing obstacles to visual peace and mental clarity. Results include spaces feeling more serene, intentional, and supportive of activities you want to engage in. This attention to detail reflects broader conscious living principles. When you care for small details with intention and precision, you create environments supporting excellence and peace across all life areas. The cumulative effect of these seemingly minor improvements creates profound transformation in daily experience quality.
9. Dead, dying, or artificial plants. Life energy authenticity. Plants bring incredible vitality to living spaces. They purify air, add natural beauty, create connections to the natural world, and provide constant renewal energy from living, growing organisms. However, when plants die and remain in homes, or when artificial plants substitute for real ones, entirely different energetic dynamics emerge. Dead plants in homes resemble keeping constant reminders of neglect, failure, or incomplete life cycles that were never properly honored. Even when you don't consciously notice dried leaves or withered stems, your subconscious registers these symbols of once living things now stagnant or decaying. Japanese culture maintains profound respect for natural life cycles, growth, death, and renewal. When plants die in Japanese homes, they're removed with gratitude for life brought to spaces, and areas are either replanted with something new or left clean and empty until appropriate replacements are found. Artificial plants present different but equally problematic energy patterns. While they don't carry death's negative associations, they also provide none of living plants' actual benefits. They're essentially decorative objects masquerading as something they're not, creating subtle falseness sensations within your environment. The psychological impact extends beyond aesthetics. When you maintain dead plants, you're unconsciously accepting symbols of failed nurturing in your personal space. This can subtly reinforce feelings of inadequacy about your ability to care for living things, potentially affecting confidence in other nurturing relationships. If you currently maintain dead plants, remove them with appreciation for what they brought during healthy periods. Clean containers thoroughly and either plant something new immediately or store empty vessels until you're ready to commit to proper plant care. For artificial plants, consider whether they genuinely add beauty to spaces or simply fill voids that might be better left empty or filled with different decoration types. If you choose to keep artificial plants, ensure they're high quality and serve specific decorative purposes rather than trying to replace living plant functions. If you want living plants but struggle with plant care, start small with hardy varieties matching your lifestyle and experience level. Research specific plant needs and commit to providing proper care. A few healthy, well-tended plants create more positive energy than many neglected or artificial ones. The key principle remains authenticity. Surround yourself with genuinely alive and thriving organisms, or honestly accept that some spaces work better plant-free rather than filled with imitations or neglect reminders. This honest relationship with plant care reflects broader patterns of authentic living and self-awareness.
10. Dark and inadequately lit spaces, energy flow foundations. Light fundamentally affects how we experience space, and inadequate illumination can transform even well-designed rooms into heavy, uninviting, energetically stagnant places. Japanese home harmony philosophy places enormous emphasis on light quality and quantity throughout living spaces. Natural light holds sacred status in Japanese culture, representing clarity, renewal, and constant life energy flow. Rooms receiving inadequate natural light or blocking available light with heavy window treatments become energetic dead zones, subtly influencing mood, motivation, and overall well-being. Think about spaces in your home you tend to avoid. Often these are poorly lit areas, dark hallways, basement rooms with inadequate lamps, living room corners never receiving enough illumination. These spaces don't just look uninviting, they actually affect energy levels and emotional states when you spend time there. Solutions involve both maximizing natural light and creating appropriate artificial lighting for different times and activities. Heavy curtains might provide privacy, but also block sunlight's life-giving energy. Small windows might present architectural limitations, but you can use mirrors, light colors, and strategic lighting to amplify available illumination. For artificial lighting, Japanese preferences lean toward warm and gentle illumination, mimicking natural light patterns. Harsh fluorescent lighting or overly bright white lights create visual stress and interfere with natural circadian rhythms. Instead, layer different lighting types: ambient lighting for general illumination, task lighting for specific activities, accent lighting for warmth and visual interest. Pay particular attention to lighting in spaces where you spend the most time. Bedrooms should feature soft, warm lighting supporting relaxation and rest. Kitchens require bright, clear lighting, making food preparation safe and enjoyable. Living areas need flexible lighting options, adapting to different activities and times of day. When you improve home lighting, you're not just making it easier to see, you're creating environments supporting alertness when you need activity and relaxation when you need rest. Good lighting literally illuminates life, making every activity more pleasant and every space more welcoming. The psychological impact of proper lighting extends beyond practical considerations. Well-lit spaces feel more alive, more positive, more supportive of the activities you want to engage in. This creates upward spirals where improved environmental conditions support better moods and energy levels, which in turn motivate you to maintain and improve your environment further.
11. Excessive and unused storage solutions. Organizational paradoxes. Storage containers can serve as incredibly useful organizational tools, but they can also become part of the problem when they multiply beyond actual usefulness. Many people accumulate storage boxes, bins, and containers intending to get organized, but instead create systems more complicated than original clutter. Japanese storage philosophy emphasizes elegant simplicity. Everything should have designated places that are easily accessible and logically connected to how items are actually used. Storage containers should serve organizational functions, not become decorative objects or psychological security blankets, making you feel organized without improving actual functionality. Consider how many storage containers currently exist throughout your home, and more importantly, how many are being used effectively. Empty containers awaiting purposes, containers filled with items you haven't accessed in years, containers storing things you're not even sure you want to keep. These aren't organizational tools, but clutter disguised as solutions. The most effective storage solutions often remain the simplest ones. Instead of purchasing more containers, focus on reducing the number of items needing storage. Instead of creating complex systems with multiple categories and subcategories, aim for intuitive storage making sense for daily routines. When you do use storage containers, choose ones attractive enough to remain visible, or store them where they won't contribute to visual clutter. Goals involve creating systems making your life easier, not ones requiring constant maintenance and decision-making. This principle reflects broader minimalism philosophy. The ultimate goal isn't storing everything you own efficiently, but owning only things serving your current life effectively. Sometimes the best storage solution involves no storage at all, because items themselves are no longer needed. The process of evaluating storage solutions often reveals important insights about consumption patterns and organizational preferences. You might discover that you've been trying to organize your way out of overconsumption, rather than addressing the root issue of accumulating more than you actually need or use. When you streamline storage systems to match your actual needs rather than your imagined organizational ideals, maintaining order becomes effortless rather than constant work. This frees mental and physical energy for activities that genuinely matter to you, rather than spending time managing systems for managing possessions. 12. Items representing past identity versions, authentic present living. This encompasses all objects representing who you used to be, who you thought you might become, or who others expected you to be, rather than who you actually are right now. These possessions create constant subtle disconnection between authentic selves and environments. Your home should reflect current values, interests, lifestyle, and aesthetic preferences. When it's filled with objects representing outdated identity versions, you're essentially living in personal history museums, rather than spaces supporting present and future growth. This might include books on subjects no longer interesting you, artwork reflecting others' tastes, kitchen gadgets for abandoned cooking styles, or decorative objects that seemed important during previous life phases but no longer resonate with current identity. The alignment process requires honest self-reflection.
Who are you now? What do you value? How do you want to spend time? What kind of environment supports current goals and brings genuine joy? Examining home objects through this lens might reveal many items exist by default rather than conscious choice. This represents opportunities to curate living spaces truly reflecting and supporting who you're choosing to become. The process can feel emotionally challenging as you encounter objects representing significant life phases, relationships, or aspirations that no longer fit current reality. However, this curation process also creates tremendous freedom. When you surround yourself only with possessions reflecting and supporting your authentic current self, your environment becomes a constant affirmation of your true identity, rather than a collection of mixed messages about who you should be. The goal isn't achieving perfection or maintaining rigid consistency, but rather creating environments that feel authentic and supportive of your current growth and aspirations. This might mean keeping some items from past phases because they still bring joy or serve current purposes, while releasing others that feel like burdens or reminders of paths no longer relevant. Neglected creative supplies and abandoned projects, dreams turned burdens. The final category addresses art supplies, craft materials, hobby equipment, and unfinished projects representing abandoned creative aspirations. These items often carry heavy emotional charges because they symbolize dreams deferred, interests explored and left behind, or creative ambitions that never materialized as expected. Every unfinished knitting project, unused set of paints, dusty musical instrument, or craft supplies for hobbies you no longer pursue represents creative energy that started flowing but never reached completion. While these items might seem harmless, they can create subtle guilt about unfulfilled potential and scattered creative focus. Japanese philosophy emphasizes honoring creative cycles, beginning, developing, completing, or consciously releasing. When creative projects remain in limbo, they occupy both physical space and mental energy without providing the satisfaction of completion or the clarity of conscious release. The challenge lies in distinguishing between temporarily paused creative projects and truly abandoned ones. Some creative works need time to develop, while others represent phases of exploration that have served their purpose even without completion. Honest assessment requires examining your current creative priorities and realistic time availability. Which projects genuinely align with your current interests and schedule? Which materials support creative activities you actually want to engage in? Which items represent creative identities you've outgrown? For projects you want to complete, create realistic timelines and dedicated space for active work. For materials supporting current creative interests, organize them accessibly to encourage regular use. For abandoned projects and unused supplies, express gratitude for the creative exploration they represented, then release them to others who might benefit. This process often reveals important insights about your authentic creative nature versus creative activities you thought you should enjoy. You might discover that you prefer simpler creative expressions, or that your creative energy flows better when focused on fewer projects with deeper engagement. When you curate creative supplies to match your actual creative practice, your creative space becomes invitation rather than burden. You're surrounded only by materials that genuinely inspire and support your current creative expression, making it easier to engage with creative activities regularly and joyfully. Creating your sanctuary, implementation and integration.
Transforming your home using these Japanese principles isn't about achieving perfection or following rigid rules. It's about developing more conscious, intentional relationships with your physical environment and understanding how surrounding objects influence mental and emotional states. Start with whichever category resonates most strongly with you. Perhaps it's electronics without purpose that you can easily evaluate and release. Or maybe it's the meaningful process of curating clothes that truly serve your current identity. The key lies in beginning with something feeling manageable and building momentum from there. As you implement these changes, pay attention to how each adjustment affects the way you feel in your space. Notice how removing broken items makes your home feel more supportive, or how improving lighting changes energy levels throughout the day. These awareness practices help you develop sensitivity to environmental influences on well-being. The goal isn't creating perfect homes, but creating spaces serving as true sanctuaries, places where you can rest, recharge, and reconnect with your authentic self. When environments support well-being, every other life aspect becomes easier and more joyful. Remember that peace isn't something you purchase, it's something you cultivate through conscious choices, one decision at a time. Your home has potential to become your greatest ally in creating the life you want to live. The transformation begins the moment you decide you deserve to live in spaces truly serving your highest good. If this video has opened your eyes to new possibilities for your home, I'd love to hear about your experience. Leave a comment below, sharing which of these 13 categories you're most excited to tackle first. And if you found value in these insights, please share this video with someone who could benefit from creating more peace and harmony in their living space. Your support helps more people discover these life-changing principles, and together we can transform not just individual homes, but entire communities into spaces supporting human flourishing and authentic living. Don't forget to subscribe for more transformative content helping you create not just beautiful homes, but meaningful lives. Until next time, may your space reflect your peace, and may your peace reflect your truest self.